Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Begin to Code with Mark. Just a quicker video today. Wanted to go through yesterday. This isn't really part 2 of Tic Tac Toe, it's part 1.5, because yesterday's video, after I edited it and put it together, I realized through the win lines combo and through the loop we have to check win, I didn't really explain that well how it was working. So I wanted to quickly cover over that array, particularly around the win lines. Let me check what we called it. This this win lines and win combos, and this syntax, particularly along here, how that was working, how we were checking winning combos. So let's just quickly go through that in this video, and then we'll get on to part 2. Okay, so in check win, we are cycling through win lines, and then we've got this double syntax at the end here, right, where we pass in I and then we pass in 0, 1 and 2 for A, B and C. And in win lines we created this double square. So what win lines is, this is a winning combo array details. This is a jagged array. Now what a jagged array is, it's a form of multi-dimensional array. It's an array of arrays. So win lines is an array which holds arrays inside it. So we have 8 arrays going into win lines, which are the 8 win combo arrays up here, and these arrays hold these values. So win combo 1 holds 0, 1 and 2, win combo 2, 3, 4 and 5, and they're arrays within arrays which we upload on load form. We populate the win lines array position 0 with win combo 1. So it's an array of arrays. So when we think how we cycle through that, we want to pull up win lines I, so the first array within win lines, and then we want to bring up the first digit within that array of arrays. So that's the first digit of win combos 1 goes into A, and then it's the second digit into B and the third digit into C. Now arrays in C# start at 0, so it's an offset of 1, so our first position isn't 1, it's 0, which can be a bit confusing, but that's basically what this is showing us, is bring up win lines for I, so whatever I is, so in the first instance it's going to be I is 0, so that's going to pull up win combinations 1. So in win combinations 1, position 0 of win combinations 1, what's its tag? And then position 1 and then position 2. So it's the array of arrays that we're populating here. So a way maybe I can demonstrate this a bit easier so you can see it is if we just make this loop a bit smaller. Let's just make it 2. So that's going to pull up win lines position 1 or 0, let's say, and 1, right, which is combo win combo line 1 and 2, which is for row 1, we'll check that one, and row 2 we're going to check that one. So they're the only 2 combinations we're going to check if we have a win. And what we're going to do is put a message box dot show, and we're going to show the values of A, B and C. So A plus A dot to string plus, and then we can space B, let's put a comma, space plus B to string plus C plus C to string. So what I want to be able to do is really show clearly what A, B and C is returning when check win is called, and check win is called on every button click. So if we run it, now we're only going to check it 2 times, right? We don't want to loop through too many times. So if we check it now, and let's not forget, in form load, we set all the tags to 0 in all the boxes. So if we check box 1 or button 1, which is position 0, now we've generated our message box, and here we can see that A is equal to 1, B is 0, C is 0. So what that's doing, I'm not sure if, no, I can't move that over, but what that's doing is that's looking at win combos 1. Win combos 1 is 0, 1 and 2 for the top row, and then it's pulling through the X, which is equal to 1, and then 0, 0. And then it's checking A, B and C to say, well, does that equal either 3 or 30? Well, clearly it doesn't, so there's no winner. We have another go. Now, that's the second part of the loop. That's checking the second row, box 4, 5 and 6, and we've got 0, 0, 0 because we haven't touched those yet. So now let's put the O in box 5, or button 5, which is position number 4. So win combos 1 is 1, 0, 0, which is what we expect, and the second iteration is 0, 10, 0. So that is how this check win is populating A, B and C, and then we sum them together, and it's using an array within arrays, this jagged array, and that's how we do the syntax to say which position we're pulling through. So from win lines, it's array I, so array 0 when it first goes, and then the 0, the first element within the array of the array, and then the second and the third. So this offset is confusing, especially if you're used to using arrays, say in Excel, which do start at 1. But I mean, you can sort of just ignore array 0 and just always sort of start your arrays at 1, but that can get a bit confusing as well. I don't know, it comes down, I guess, to a bit of personal preference, but I would say go with it and just try and get your head around how it balances out to see how it works. But that is anyway is jagged arrays. It's a format of multi-dimensional arrays. There is something else called a multi-dimensional array which you set up slightly different, but this is very much an array within arrays, and that is how we're cycling through A, B and C and checking these winning combos. So I hope that's clearer from the video before. We could also do much more efficient code with this. We could, because here we're always going 1, 2 and 3, so we could think of this as a loop within a loop, and we might well tidy that up as we go along. Now, you know, for this project, this is just 3 lines. It's pretty efficient, right? We're not losing any performance here. But when we want to build a code and design things, we always want to think, well, is this the most efficient? So here I've only got 3 elements of an array within an array that I'm cycling through, but if there was 100, I wouldn't want to put 100 different rows here. I definitely want to do a loop within a loop. So I think best practice would be to do a loop within a loop, and we can think about doing that. But that is how this is working. And see, the loop within the loop principle is I guess what we're doing here. And so we've got the loop and the loop, and so we could do another J up here and loop through this, and instead of writing them to A, B and C, you would write them to another array and then sum up the elements 1, 2 and 3 in that array to see if you've won. So it can get a bit confusing, and you can start to think, well, am I doing too many arrays or too little arrays? But I like to think of it, you know, comparing it to like how I build a spreadsheet. You wouldn't necessarily just put 1 column, which is just an enormous calculation. You might put 5 columns of different calculations to explain as it goes along, and then have it at the end. And all variables and arrays, you can just think of them as different columns on your spreadsheet, just holding and transforming and questioning data. And so that's all we're doing, is just populating different cells in a spreadsheet, and showing how it works. So when you design a spreadsheet, you can use as many as you like, and it's the same with variables. I suppose it can be a little bit more confusing in code to actually really visualize it. On the spreadsheet you can see how everything works, whereas in the code you've got to read through the code, and it's sort of not quite as tangible as a spreadsheet. But variables and arrays are really useful. You don't want to overcomplicate it and create too many, but you shouldn't be scared of creating enough to make the code run efficiently. So there's definitely more we can do with this. That's the explanation anyway behind the jagged arrays. They're pretty cool, and you can get a lot of value out of jagged arrays, arrays within arrays, and I guess you could put more elements within this and make them even more dimensional. But that's Tic Tac Toe part 1.5, a bit of an explanation behind what we did yesterday. Now we're going to go on to part 2, which is going to be having the computer play us, having the computer try and beat us. So it's going to be exciting. I think what we're going to do is try and get that element of the project working first, and then we'll go through and really tidy the code and make it efficiently and put some more bells and whistles on, and really make this an app to be proud of. So yeah, there'll be several more parts to this, but this is part 1.5, explaining jagged arrays and how we've gone through check-win. I hope that's a bit clearer than yesterday's video. Have a look out for part 2, which is coming soon. Like, comment and subscribe. I'd really love it if you build this with me. And if you find different ways to solve the same problem, in coding, I think there's always 10 or 100 different ways of doing the same thing, and different times different ways are going to work. So if you find something different or have a different suggestion to do it, if you're building it with me or if you're a developer, then yeah, let me know in the comments section and we will see how it goes. But like I say, like, comment and subscribe. Let's follow the videos and see how this is working. But that's it for part 1.5. Thanks very much, and see you in part 2.